There's an incredible amount of hatred. And I did go back and try to find some of the articles. I can't remember, but there was at least one politician who was proposing bills to just simply make it illegal to have any kind of trans treatment whatsoever at any age, and to essentially outlaw these people, turn them into criminals simply for being trans. Another one is Nancy Mace, who's quite well known, if you follow politics at all, as being someone who just loves to insult people as part of her political agenda. And I was pretty fed up at that point, and I said at a board meeting, maybe it's time that we become a little more visible in our support of people who are being attacked so viciously. And I even suggested that we fly a rainbow flag. We got a giant sign right out here in front of our church, put a flagpole on it, and show the people in the community that are being attacked, being oppressed, being called an endless series of insults, and say, we stand with you when so many people don't. And we're not ashamed to say you're safe here. Now, many of you weren't attending here when I was a minister, but this suggestion has come up a couple times and been shot down for various reasons, mostly centering around safety, a fear that if we have a rainbow flag out front, that people will target us, that they will vandalize the flag, the building, or perhaps even come in and attack us, as does happen in churches, unfortunately, more frequently. For instance, it'd be easy to say, oh, that'll never happen. That's a ridiculous fear. Well, it's not. In 2008, there was a mass shooting at a Knoxville Unitarian Universalist church. 2 people were killed, 6 were injured, while children were performing the play Annie. The shooter's manifesto attributed his motivation for this rampage as a hatred of liberals, Democrats, African Americans, and homosexuals. And sadly, this is pretty much the political platform of MAGA now. Just add trans people and anyone who doesn't have white skin. We live in a world where this is normalized now. And it's up to people like us to be visibly taking a stand. And everything I say is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But I'm going to be making a pitch, if you will. We live in a world where the marginalized and the weak are attacked with increasing ferocity. One only has to watch our president appealing to the Supreme Court to be allowed not to feed people in need. I could easily spend my time listing his outrageous actions, but I'm not going to. It's not about him at this point. It's about us. What do we do when confronted with this? So, setting aside the outrageous behavior and the harm that is being caused by forces that we don't control, what do we do in the face of this? I want to talk about our willingness or our unwillingness, and I'm not passing judgment on anyone. I've had this discussion many times. How much risk are we willing to take to stand with the oppressed, those who are being harmed? Behind me, right here, this is the flaming chalice. It is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. And there's a story on the UU website that I want to share how we got this symbol, because it is so pertinent. During World War II, a lot of people living in Eastern Europe, Unitarians, Jews, and others, were in danger of being put in prison or killed by Nazi soldiers. A group of Unitarians came together in Boston, Massachusetts to form the Unitarian Service Committee, which this still exists today. Now it's the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And their plan was to help people in danger from the Nazis. The director of the service committee was the Unitarian minister Charles Joy. Reverend Joy had an office in Portugal so he could be near the people he wanted to help. He was in charge of a whole secret group of agents and messengers who worked hard trying to find safe routes for people to escape. Isn't that cool? We were spies. We had secret agents fighting evil in World War II. Unitarians did. Makes you proud. In those days during the war, when danger was everywhere, lots of people were running away from their own countries. Often people who were escaping were people who wanted help but didn't speak the language. Reverend Joy decided it would be much better if the service committee had an official symbol or picture to help identify its members. With a picture or symbol, it wouldn't matter if people could read the language. They could just look at the flaming chalice. And we ain't got there yet, but just think, that's what that symbol meant. It was a sign of safety. It looked like Reverend Joy would need to find an artist. He went to a very talented man named Hans Deutsch for help. Deutsch had escaped from the Nazis in Paris, France, where he was in danger because he drew cartoons showing how evil the Nazis were. Reverend Joy asked Deutsch to create a symbol to print on service committee papers to impress governments, make it look important, make it look official. And then these people he was trying to impress would know that they were serious and had the power to move people to safety. For his drawing, Deutsch borrowed an old symbol of strength and freedom from Czechoslovakia, a chalice with a flame. Reverend Joy wrote to his friends in Boston that the new symbol seemed to show the real spirit of the Unitarian religion. It showed a chalice or cup that was used for giving a healing drink to others. And it showed a flame on top of the chalice because a flame was often used to represent a spirit of helpfulness and sacrifice. And so the flaming chalice became the official symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee. And for many, many years, the unofficial symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Our adopted symbol comes from a time of great oppression, when helping the oppressed was truly a life-threatening activity. The evil was obvious, and our spiritual ancestors were bold in fighting it. Today, I feel overwhelmed by the rampant injustice, prideful bigotry, and hatefulness that just washes over us every day. And I know many of you feel the same way, perhaps all of you, most likely all of you. And we also feel powerless. Maybe there is one small thing we can do. And like I said earlier, I suggested we fly a rainbow flag. And at the board meeting, we talked about it for a while, and then I said I would be happy to do a talk about it. And then during feedback, we can share how we feel. And so that's what I'm doing today. Talkback will be a time when people can share their concerns or support for the idea. And again, I have to emphasize the concerns are real. This is not a risk-free thing we would be doing. You can bet if you left the flag out there 24/7, it would be stolen, almost certainly. Would we be targeted? It's possible. It's a non-zero chance. We know these things happen. But before that, I'm going to show you, there isn't just one possibility here. And I'm going to ask Annie to pull up our video at this point. I have a few different flags I wanted to show you that were possibilities. And poor Annie was trying to get this worked out to where you can see it, the people online can see it. And at this point, the people online will have to sacrifice the delight of seeing my face while I talk because they're going to be looking at the flags instead. But we do have to give her a second to get it set up. Okay, people online see it?
No. Black screen. There it is.
Yeah.
Yay! I have 5 slides to show you, and so this won't be real long. This is your standard rainbow flag, pride flag, support flag, whatever people want to call it. It shows that we're standing with everyone, regardless of sexual orientation or identification. Go to number 2. This one's a little different. This is called the progress flag. And that's why you have the arrows pointing left to right, sort of, with the colors to show that we're making progress in all these different areas. If any of you have followed the controversy in Tullahoma over the last few weeks, one of the teachers at the high school was first reprimanded for her Facebook post against Charlie Kirk. She also flew this flag in her class for many years without any comment. Of course, now that she's a target, oh dear, look at this horrific flag you're flying in your schoolroom. And so now all flags are banned in schoolrooms in Tullahoma, except the American flag or flags being used for educational purposes. And again, not to debate that law, because you could conceivably say, okay, if she can do this, then we can fly Confederate flags and Nazi flags, and where does it stop? So I understand the school board, again, is in a tough position. But that's a progress flag. Let's go on to the next one. There are several variations on this. It's called a ally flag. This particular one, the black and the white, is supposed to represent people who are not in the LGBT category, straight people, if you will, but they are allies of the people who are LGBTQ. And there are variations without the black and the white in between, but this is showing that we are allied. We understand this other group is being persecuted. The problem is that doesn't really apply to our church real well, because we're not all straight. We have a wide variety, but there are other variations of this too. Now, before we go on to number 4, this next flag is a little different. It's a flag that is being flown all around the world, believe it or not, in protest against repressive governments. And I do mean all around the world. So let's go to number 4. You might be able to see a little bit of pirate type flag there at a protest. We'll get a bit better picture of it. Go to number 5. You can go on to number 5. Now this is, if you don't know, this is from a Japanese anime called One Piece. It's about a young man who decides he's going to become the pirate king. But in this world that he lives in, he and his ragtag crew go from story arc to story arc. And in each of these, they find a group of people who are oppressed. And they fight to free them. And my friends who have watched I kid you not, 1,000+ episodes of this that are animated, there's an endless number of books. It's a comic book series from Japan. I told them about this. I said, you won't believe it. The One Piece flag has actually become the symbol of revolution. And they said, oh yeah, that makes sense, because that's all they do. They go save one group of people after another. He's supposed to be finding this treasure that'll make him the pirate king, but all he does is save people all over the place. Now, I, for one, would love to fly this flag. I could understand if you all don't. But the thing is, it's less obvious to the haters and more obvious to those who are trying to help. And it also shows that at least one of us likes anime. Maybe more. Okay, so that's it on the flags. You can switch back if you want, if you can, but I'll move on. So when we go into talkback, the question before us is twofold. Do we want to make a more public stand against the hate that is trying desperately to become the normal state of things in this world, or at least in this country? And if so, how would we like to do that? This is just one possibility, flying a flag. There's an endless series of questions even from that. You fly it 24/7. Which flag do you fly? Do you rotate flags? Are there other flags we want to use? We could hang something under the sign. There's a lot of space, and you could have one of those boards with pithy sayings that other churches like to put out. But ours could be a little less sugary, nauseating. there's a lot we could do, and I think it would mean the world to the people in our community who are becoming obvious targets of the government, that are obviously hated by a fair number of people. And it's become fair game to attack them and normalize, and it's time for, I think, it's time for us to be a little more bold. Because if we don't do it, who's gonna do it around here? Just not a lot of support. And so with that, I will let you think deeply during our short break, and when we come back for talk back, look forward to hearing your perspectives. Thank you.